You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Delighted to be joined by our next guest. He is the new chair of Wisconsin Democrats. Devin Remaker is joining us. Good morning, Devin. Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Lots of things going on. Of course, Governor Evers announcing last week he is not seeking a third term. We know that Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez has already entered the race. Rumors that Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley will be the next one to throw a hat in, but we are expecting numerous others. How does the party handle this going forward? How does the state party handle this going forward?
With neutrality is the simple answer. So the state party doesn't have a favorite, isn't going to support any specific candidate in the race. Ultimately, we will make sure that we abide by the neutrality required by our state party's constitution. And also, I think is in the best interest of producing a nominee that folks can rally behind once the primary is over and march onward toward the general election. So I really am looking forward to seeing how the candidates who are already being talked about, some that may come out still, engage with voters and present a vision for the future for the party and for the state of Wisconsin.
I'm curious as far as when someone is going in to take over this job as the head of the chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, one of your biggest roles, correct me if I'm wrong, is fundraising. That's got to be exhausting. I just think it must be exhausting.
Well, I actually enjoy it. So here's why. When I was in college, I worked at Sears. I sold appliances, fridges, ovens, washers, dryers, whole nine yards. And really what it was and what sales boils down to, and I think what fundraising boils down to is helping identify a problem, the change that people want to see in the world, and then sort of presenting the solution, which is for a lot of folks, the work that we do at the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, and helping folks plug into the change that we are making that aligns with their own values and what they want to see in the world. That actually gives me a lot of energy. I enjoy it. So I have dove right in to the fundraising component of this job, in addition to all the other things that come with being chair of the party. But genuinely, I do enjoy it. And I think that there are so many people that are eager to see change in this state and across this country. And I think being able to engage with more of them over the past month and a half has really been a pleasure.
In the first in the first time, it's been about a month now that since you took over. What are the things you're doing now to establish your new leadership? Talking to the standard bearers of the party, as well as just the people of Wisconsin throughout the state. Like what are the first steps you make as the new head of the party?
So we have a lot of work to do here in Wisconsin, right? And I think that part of that is building on the infrastructure that we already have at the Democratic Party, year-round organizing, communication, fundraising. Yes, a really big part of that to make sure all that work can continue. But I do want to build upon the foundation that our former chair, Ben Wickler, laid down, and make sure that, in addition to traditional organizing, we're looking at new ways to communicate with voters. I think that knocking on doors is fantastic. It's something that we're going to keep doing, but we also need to make sure that we're in their social media feeds, in their text inboxes, and we're showing up at community events. So one thing that I am really focused on is raising the resources to stand up a 72 county strategy program, where we essentially really engage with our party units and with local activists on the ground in every county in the state to make sure that in this moment in time in which there's immense energy all over the state, that we're able to harness it and let folks know if they're taking action for the first time through a group like Indivisible or 5051, that, hey, we're on the same side. We're fighting for the same thing. We're fighting for the same change, and make sure that they know that they also have a home here with the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. So I think that's sort of a new program that I'm hoping to stand up. In addition to being able to talk a little bit more about my upbringing and background, coming from a working class family and growing up in a working class community, and trying to sort of convey a message of possibility and optimism, but also as a bit of an antidote to Trumpism, where Trump has made major headway in communities like the one I grew up in. And I think just a little more firmly ingraining that in our messaging and what I bring to the chair role has been a focus of mine in the first month and a half.
If you're just joining us, Devin Remaker is our guest. He's the new chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, taking over for Ben Wickler. I know that one of Ben Wickler's big focuses was on the ground game, Devin, with the door knocking and all those things. But I think you bring up something very important, is the right has been very good at utilizing online communications.
Absolutely. Yes, they have. They had a very intentional strategy. And now I think that strategy is kind of being aided and abetted by some of these Silicon Valley billionaires that went groveling to the Trump administration as soon as he was elected. And I think that in some ways the deck is a little stacked against us. But that doesn't mean that we should step back and disengage, whether we like it or not. Folks are getting more of their news, more of their information online.
Right.
And there's also more flooding it than ever before. And I think that if we want to remain competitive, it has to be in all of the above strategy. It has to be doors, it has to be phones, it has to be community events, it has to be Facebook feeds. We have to remain competitive, and we have to find messengers that actually reach people and can break through all of the noise.
One of the advantages that I think that the Republicans have, though, Devin, and there was a story about this a couple of months ago, the message is decided upon. It goes out to Fox and all the right-wing influencers. They have a whole machine built. They send one message out and it gets disseminated in 400 different ways. Do the Democrats have anything like that in place?
We're working on improving our messaging infrastructure to help not only get a message out, but make that message resonate locally. And I think that one way that we can sort of, take down Goliath here and their giant sort of machine to be able to get their message out is by making our message more resonant and more engaging than their own. And I think that a way that we do that is by localizing it and individualizing it so that in each county or each city, folks have the information about how the things like the big awful budget are impacting them, right? If you're in the 3rd Congressional District, you can know that Derek Van Orden's vote for that bill, 30,000 people in his district could potentially lose their health care. 30,000 people could potentially lose their food assistance as well. Within his own district, there is a rural hospital in Osseo that is on the chopping block. It is one of those hospitals, right? And I think that a way that you can sort of, beat the system, which the Democratic Party of Wisconsin has really prides itself on doing, is figuring out creative ways to overcome the odds, is to just use our message that is more engaging, more localized, with messengers that actually break through to people, even if we don't own a cable news station.
Because you mentioned Derek Van Orden's district in the western part of Wisconsin, we did have a text come in a little bit earlier from Kurt in Eau Claire, who says the people that support DVO in this area think he's doing a very good job. I saw an ad on Facebook over the weekend, huge, thanking Derek Van Orden for cutting taxes in Wisconsin. I don't see much being put out by the Democrats telling us what they're doing or saying. They need to get their act together. As a senior citizen, I would like to see DVO gone. We have heard from other listeners, Devin, in particularly western Wisconsin, because of their media landscape, they get a lot of their stuff from TV in Minneapolis. And so they're kind of in an information desert, essentially. So we have had or heard more calls about spend some more money in District 3 because we're not getting all the information.
Absolutely. And, the 3rd Congressional District is a little quirky in that regard. I worked for Congressman Kine for 4 years, so I know it quite well. You actually have 4 media markets. You have Wausau, Rhinelander, Minneapolis, La Crosse, Eau Claire, and then a splash of Madison in the southwestern portion of the district. So it can be really difficult to communicate in traditional ways. But something that we did last week was we held a town hall in the city of La Crosse. Derek Van Orden, despite the fact he took the time to tweet 75 times and has been basically on a Twitter bender. I don't know when he started. He's been on it for a while, but he really ramped it up after he voted for this budget. Yet he still won't just hold a town hall. He is screwing his constituents and won't even look them in the eye after he does it or before he did it. And I think that's just a disgrace. I mean, when I worked for Congressman Ron Kind, he made it a point to go to every county every single year to have a listening session with folks. This guy's too much of a coward to leave his safe space down in Prairie du Chien to come up anywhere else in the district. And this not only was a way for folks to be able to express their feelings about his betrayal, but it also helped get our message out. And I think that we have to be a little bit scrappier, especially in a district like the 3rd, because we don't have the resources to be up everywhere year round in a place like that when you're covering 4 markets.
Yeah.
But if we show up and we can get people excited and engaged and capture the press's attention with an event like our town hall, that does help get our message out. And I look forward to figuring out what else we can do to hold them accountable. I promise, Kurt in Eau Claire, we are going to stick it to Derek Van Orden now through Election Day.
And going back to the 72 county strategy, one of the things that's been very beneficial for the Democratic Party and Democrats and people of Wisconsin, I believe, is gaining more seats in the Assembly and the state Senate and moving forward. And we see a lot of energy coming from those who want to run and those who are, excited about what fair maps have brought the state. Devin, can you speak more about the state Senate runs, the strategy that you have going forward for at least the next cycle?
We have tremendous opportunity in 2026. This is the first time in a long time that we have the opportunity to win a trifecta, to retain the governorship, win the Senate, and win the Assembly. And I am bullish on both the Senate and the Assembly. I think that we are in the process of having candidates emerge that are going to be incredibly strong in a variety of districts in both chambers. And at the end of the day, I think that, the sort of betrayal of their constituents, a theme that I was hitting on with Derek Van Orden, is true of these folks as well. If you want to look at Howard Markline, trying to gut education funding, especially for rural schools. His community has a lot of them. Rural schools are the beating heart of many communities.
Absolutely.
It is the gathering place. It is where people go to find community. And many of them are already facing difficult decisions about cutting sports programs, about cutting band, about consolidating districts. And all of a sudden you have bus routes that take over an hour to get kids to and from school. I think that we need to hold them accountable on that. You have Rob Hutton in the Senate as well, who was part of the Foxconn boondoggle, giving them $4.5 billion in subsidies to basically plow a field and build a facility that didn't do anything. And thankfully, Governor Evers was able to make something out of nothing and deliver a fantastic deal with Microsoft. But I think that, their sort of track record is going to really come back to bite them now that they are actually being held accountable to their voters. And I think that it's just a little unique for the Senate in some ways because these folks may not have been up before, right? Because it's staggered every 2 years. But also in the Assembly, I think that Robin Vos may be in for a bit of a surprise with just how far down his list he needs to go to defend his incumbents. We're not just going to focus on the seats that get a majority. I think we can reach deep in 2026 and hopefully have by a resounding vote with a margin to spare, a Speaker Greta Neubauer and a Senate Leader Diane Hesselbein.
Devin, can you stay with us for another segment or do you have to go?
I can stay.
Wonderful. Yeah. We're going to continue our conversation with the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Devin Remaker is our guest. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Cal B coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. He is the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, Devin Remaker. Good enough to give us and stick around for another segment. Thank you for your time, Devin. I'm sure you have several other things you need to get to, but I wanted to talk a little bit in the time that we have, and we hear from listeners around the state who live in very red counties. Wisconsin has 72 counties. What do I do if I'm a blue dot swimming in a sea of red? Who do I reach out to if I would like to get to talk to someone in the Democratic Party? Because the Democrats are in all 72 counties, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's Democrats everywhere, and I would really encourage folks to first reach out to their county party, and if you're having difficulty reaching them, some people are on different wavelengths when it comes to responsiveness through different means. You can also reach out to your congressional district chair. We also have those in every single congressional district in the state, and they can help provide a little nudge, in case that email inbox wasn't checked recently or something like that. You can also get involved with the neighborhood team if you go to mobilize.us /WISDEMS, WISDEMS. You can find organizing events near you. We have over 270 neighborhood teams across this state, in addition to our county parties that are organized locally to help take action and communicate on the issues that voters care about. I will just say on sort of an editorial note as well, it can feel lonely being in a red area. You can feel totally surrounded. Heck, even in places that are purple, it sometimes feels like Republicans are on surround sound. It's on social media. We have the sort of right-wing media ecosystem that we talked about earlier. There's signs, there's hats. It feels like you're outnumbered. Oftentimes, I think that there are more Democrats than folks may realize around them. If a county is voting 70% Republican, that still means 30% of that is Democratic, right? And trying to build community, reaching out to your neighbors and making that dot a little bit brighter blue is incredibly important work. And I think that sometimes I had this own experience where I live outside of Reedsburg, Wisconsin, township of Excelsior to be specific, and we put out a Susan Crawford yard sign recently in the Supreme Court election, and one of our neighbors stopped my wife as she was walking our dogs and said, "Hey, it's brave of you to do that. Just so you know, I'm a Democrat, and so is that person 3 doors down. So is that person." And before we knew it, we had kind of power mapped the neighborhood a little bit. And I think that reaching out to folks and just like we did after that, of having conversations and trying to plug them in and get them involved and put the sign out the next time can help show people that Democrats are everywhere and you have nothing to be afraid of because you are on the right side of history fighting for people.
That's so important, though, Devin, that folks realize that you are not completely alone. It might feel that way, but there are quiet Democrats. I think there are quieter Democrats than there are Republicans in some of these 72 counties. And as you said, a good starting point, just look for the Democratic Party of your county. Start there. Or find some other group. When I drive around, I was running for groceries yesterday, and there are little groups I see in Wauwatosa, Protect Democracy. It's just little groups like that. Maybe that's something that would interest you, so you don't feel so hopeless and helpless.
Exactly. And, while you're on Mobilize, there's not just events from the Democratic Party available there. There are events from groups of all sorts and stripes. Get involved. And, part of the 72 county strategy that I talked about is also figuring out ways that we can partner with those groups to talk about the issues that people care most about and reach out to folks ahead of the upcoming election. And I think that there are so many people that are getting involved. During the chair campaign, we were doing a lot of county party visits, congressional district committee visits, and at almost every single county party without fail, there would be someone that walked into the door, had never been involved before, and asked how they could sign up to be a member. I was in Waushara County in, I believe, April, and I had that exact experience, which, is a county that historically has been quite red, very rural. And there in Wild Rose, they have an office year-round right on the main drag, and having that presence so that folks knew when they finally had enough, when they were fed up and ready to do something, they knew exactly where to go. That's the ticket, and we want to make sure that county parties have the infrastructure and the ability to do that year-round statewide.
The mobilize.us/wisdems will be in the show notes. So if you want to check that out, folks, you can go to civicmedia.us/shows. Look for Matt and Aaron on air, and you can find that link in the show notes. Also, I just really quick before we get out of here, I just want to share a story. We were up in, we did a tour this past week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Time's a construct. And we were in Hayward, and a gentleman who, by all accounts, we would always assume looked like a guy who didn't agree with anything we said, period. Just didn't look like it at all. And he came up to us, said, "My name is Steve. I'm a big fan." Gave us a small thumbs up. He goes, "You're doing a good job." And then he walked away. And I think that's important for us to know that, to what we're doing as Civic Media, that he doesn't feel alone, and he hopefully has friends he can talk to and share and build that energy that you're talking about. Moving, I don't even want to say, I'm sure you want to say more left, but to the right side of history, to a better, fairer Wisconsin for all people. And I'll never forget Steve from Hayward for the rest of my life. It was a wonderful thing to see.
Devin Remiker is the new chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. If you would like to get involved, as Greg said, we will include all the links in our show notes. All you have to do is go to civicmedia.us. Take heart. You are not alone. Right, Devin?
Absolutely. We are going to build community. We are going to win back the trust of voters, and we're going to win big in 2026. Thank you all. And I think as is the work that you've done to help build that community, especially for folks that may not have that many folks around them physically, being able to sort of hear from folks around the state, different perspectives, different issues, it really helps. And I think that is what folks need right now is a little bit of hope. And I am confident we can make big change in 2026.
Devin Remiker, the chair of Wisconsin Democrats, thank you so very, very much for your time. Would love to have you back on when you're available. We have news coming up next. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, resident young person Calvin on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Hello, live streamers.
Hi,
on
live streamers.
Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter, coming up in just a little bit, around 10:51 to 3-ish. We'll wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the extra padding edition. I would encourage you to stick around for that. On Friday, well, actually, this is the time of the show that we call Audio Sorbet.
You know, just kind of
lighten things up.
Audio Sorbet. We clean your ears with fun.
We need an open for that. We clean your ears with fun. Yes, where we just try to get away from the news a little bit. We talk about a lot of news because it's important. It's not like we don't appreciate that things are... Well,
always on fire.
Always on fire, frequently on fire. We know that. But I still also, we believe that it is important to laugh.
Yes.
And just take a breath and get away from it for a little bit. So that's why we do Audio Sorbet to wrap up the last half an hour of the show. And on Friday, we were talking about my adventure in parking lots. Last week, all the hosts across Civic Media met in Madison for our annual meeting. And after our meeting was over, there's a parking ramp attached to our building, to our office there in Madison.
Yeah.
And I wandered around for 40 minutes because I could not find my car.
Yeah.
And remember Wednesday, it was super hot, super, super hot.
And when it's super hot inside a parking garage that's concrete, that's just radiating heat.
It was so hot in there, and I was drenched. I'm just drenched. And finally, right before I texted you, I thought, I'm just going to sit down here and melt into a puddle and cry, and I'll just be here forever. I'll be here alone forever. Ultimately, obviously, I did find my car.
Update, folks. She found her car, and she's here today.
But we were taking your calls about similar situations. Other folks have done this.
Yeah.
Lost in a parking lot, can't find your car at a concert. Had a great one from Alpine Valley.
Oh my God. Just
wandering for several days looking for their car.
If you can't find your car at Alpine now just owns your car.
Pretty much.
It's just...
They're just going to look for it on a used car lot somewhere, and that's where it's going to show up.
I was going to say, I'm really surprised there just isn't like a secret, like, hey, come to this is the secret dump ground for Alpine cars.
But we got this right after we got off the air on Friday, and it made me laugh so hard. It's like, we need to include this.
Yeah.
So we have a little follow-up from Friday's Audio Sorbet. Here we go. I'm a trucker. I was parked at a service plaza in Ohio. The highway was closed due to a blizzard. I went inside for some food. When I came back out to my truck, the darn key wouldn't work.
Darn it.
Darn it. After several tries and much, much frustration, the window opens, a guy leans out and says, try the truck in front of this one. It was the wrong truck. It was the same company truck, same model and color of truck, the wrong truck. So they're standing in front of this truck with the key fob going click, 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 and it's not opening and not opening. And finally, the guy in the truck opens the window and says, yeah, you're trying to open the wrong car.
You know what I enjoy about that story? Besides the Jane Matt Nair copyrighted laughter right there. Trademark. is the fact that the guy in the truck just sat there and let it happen for a while.
For so long.
He was just like, who's this guy? What's he doing?
I'm just going to let it go for a little bit.
Let's see how long this lasts.
Right.
And then finally he just says to himself, okay, this is embarrassing. Hey.
I'm going to help you out.
Now so I had said last week that I've never really lost my car. I don't. There's no stories that stand out. There are times where I thought I parked in a certain spot and it's my car's not there.
And you thought it was stolen?
I thought it was stolen.
Yeah.
And my car is 2 spots over. I just forgot where I parked. So I didn't lose it in the parking garage. I just didn't turn to my left.
But it's that panic.
It's that initial panic. But trying to get into a car that I think is mine, the amount of times I have done that is shockingly large and very embarrassing.
That was from Marge. I want to thank you, Margie, for sending that in. That was so funny.
Yeah, that was great.
And I'm sure, Margie, you are not alone. I'm sure there are other people who have thought, this is my car. It's covered in snow, but I know it's my car.
Yeah.
And then it's not.
It's not your car. And that's just another way to and thank you for emailing us. If you ever have these stories, you can send it to janesays@civicmedia.us, whether it's a Tisbat suggestion, a guest suggestion, a segment suggestion, what's ever going on. If you want us to know about it, tell us. janesays@civicmedia.us. And we thank you for getting in touch with us.
And you can always join us if you have a story you would like to share at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Another reminder as well to make sure you download the Civic Media app.
Mm-hmm.
Because every Friday is Free Ticket Fridays, and we want to congratulate Jim from Brookfield.
Yes.
Jim and his wife, I believe, picked up those tickets for this Wednesday's game at AmFam Field. Crew hosting the Cubbies. It is going to be a really good game. But you have more chances coming up, but you have to have the Civic Media app.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely free. Any other stories about losing your vehicles in parking lots? At 855, what are you looking? 855-752-4842. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because we're bringing this. I mean, I know we had the addendum and everything, but I'm just like, Jane, did you lose your car again this weekend?
I did not.
Okay, all right, that's great. I just wanted to make sure that you need cars.
You think I would tell you now?
Absolutely. Yes, you would. I would expect this. I would expect a text message saying, "Guess what? ... And I'd be like, "You lost your car again, didn't you?" And she's like, "I now live in Kewaskum.
Can you come and get me?"
Well, that was the thing.
Come and pick me up.
That was the thing, too, is you sent me that text message. I couldn't find my car. Now, I'll give some more context to the story.
Okay.
The parking garage, while you and Shali have designed it as a labyrinth of terror with automobile storage, it's not that big.
It's what, 5 levels?
It's 5 levels, and it's not like gigantic, like large, wide. It's not like it's not
airport.
Like
it's not an airport parking lot.
It's
garage.
rather, I believe, rather navigable. But when you sent that to me, my first instinct was, you can't find your car. I'll give it like 5 minutes. I'm sure you're going to find it. And then you sent me another text message saying, I still can't find it. So I said, do you want me to come help you look? Because I was at the comedy club on State. Shout out to the club on State. We share the same building as HQ at Civic Media.
Right.
So I was like, it wasn't
because I knew you were there.
Yeah, it wasn't a long walk for me at all. So I said, do you want me to come help you? And you said yes. And I thought to myself, all right, I'm going to go upstairs, make sure I cleared it with the club to make sure I wouldn't miss my spot. And then as I'm walking up there, I'm like, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to walk through the door and she's going to say, I found my car. And what happened when I walked through the door of the parking garage? I found it.
Well, and why what I wanted you to do, we would have jumped in your vehicle.
Yeah. You think I'm giving up that prime spot that I had? No.
Well, I don't need you to walk around with me to find my car. I needed you to drive me around to find my car.
With my nice air conditioning?
Yes, exactly. And then I could use my key fob on every level going past every single car, hoping I was going to hit the right one.
Do you know what that looks like from maybe a cop's perspective?
Do I care?
Oh, wow.
At this point?
Wow. And the other thing too is I said, I was going to walk into the parking garage and just yell your name to see where you're at. And then I realized that a man who, by the way, folks, if you've never seen me, I look like every police sketch drawing.
You are a large bearded man.
A large, long hair, bearded man.
Yes.
And walking into a parking garage at night in the dark, just screaming a woman's name, probably not the best move for me either. So I just was hoping against hope that the angels of car findom would find your car. And they did. And they did.
They came through for me in the end.
Yeah.
For which I am eternally grateful. But Margie made me feel better.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. You're not alone. You're not alone.
Because sometimes you feel like that. I'm the only one. I'm the only idiot who's ever done this.
Hey. You're not an idiot. You just forgot. Don't do that. That's not nice. That's not nice. Jane?
I've forgiven myself.
Oh, there we go. Oh, man.
Sort of.
Okay. All right.
But you know how it's like when you walk into the room and you forgot what you were doing, what you were looking for?
Okay. We could talk about that for 40 minutes.
Because when you get to be my age, everything is like, oh my God, that's Alzheimer's. Yeah. Every time I forget something or why I walked into a room, it's like, oh my God, that's the early sign.
Yeah. And that's the thing is there are so many times where I walk into a room and I'll say, I came in here for a reason. And then what I'll do is I'll walk out of the room and try to walk and walk back into it thinking
does that help?
No, it really never does.
Reset?
No, it never helps. Contrary to popular belief, I am not a robot, which I can just, rewind my programming and say, what was I thinking about 45 seconds ago when I thought to myself, hey, grapes sound really good right now.
I love that you go back in thinking that's going to do it for you.
Of course I do. Or I put my fingers to my temple and try to think it out of my...
Because you're going to squish it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Squeeze it.
I mean, I am truly my mother's son. I have gone into the house no less than 4 times after going into the car. I go in the car, it's time to go. I forgot this thing. I forgot this thing. And when you get to the 3rd to 4th, you start to feel bad.
Right?
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of self-judgment coming out there.
It feels like you need to take a breath and just say, all right, start writing things down.
Calvin, you are a resident young person. I'll let you you'll have the final word on this. Do you ever walk into a room and forgot why you were going in there?
Probably more than is reasonable for someone my age. Yeah, it definitely happens. So one thing as far as forgetfulness that and this probably isn't a good example because it's as I'm falling asleep, but I'll be like thinking of like a story or explaining, like thinking of something in my head, and I'll just like forget almost like where you forget what you were going to say, but it was in your head. And then I'm like, okay, well, now it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I can no longer follow my own thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not listening to me right now. I have to go to bed. Yeah, I've been there too. I've had where you take some NyQuil. You take some NyQuil because you're not feeling good, or because you just want to sleep desperately. And NyQuil has that thing where it just starts intermittently shutting your brain down. Where you're like watching television, you're like, all right, cool. Okay, maybe I should go. Okay, I should go to. All right,
now it's time.
It's time to go to bed. Now it's time. I'm sputtering.
Should you ever have an idea for an audio sorbet, say you've lost something.
Mm-hmm. Like your mind.
You can always email that to us at janesays@civicmedia.us. JANESAYS. Jane says @civicmedia.us. Coming up, we will wrap up the show with This Shouldn't Be a Thing Extra Padding Edition. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Hello, live streamers on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up, news, followed by Tom Hartman, 11 to 2. Our friend and colleague Todd Alba, 2 to 4. Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6. And Pete Schwaba with Nightlight from 6 to 8 p.m.
I'm on Nightlight this week.
Are you? What night?
7 o'clock at 7:20.
Which night?
Thursday.
Oh,
Sorry.
Thursday. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm very tired. I mowed the lawn yesterday. I'm barely awake right now. Thursday, 7:20. I will be on Nightlight with Pete Schwab. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's always a great time.
It is a lot of fun. I think I'm going to be on in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about hate watching. There's something on HBO that I can't not watch because I hate it. I can't.
And
stop.
I know exactly what it is.
I know you do.
I referenced it this weekend to Bridget when I was talking to her about this specific show. What show do you ask? Well, you're just going to have to wait until Jane is on Nightlight with Pete Schwab.
Pete Schwab should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Coming up on our show tomorrow, Pat Kreitlow from Mornings with Pat Kreitlow will be joining us after 9:35. We will break down what's going on in Wisconsin. Always lots of things happening. Right now, though, it is 10:54 Kelvin. That means it's time for...
This shouldn't be a thing.
As always, if you find a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us. This is from CBS News. Carrie Breen with the byline. The headline reads, Florida woman caught trying to carry turtles through airport security in her bra. Don't do this. A Florida woman was caught hiding 2 turtles in her bra while passing through TSA at the Miami International Airport last week. The woman has yet to be identified. She had the turtles wrapped in what appeared to be gauze and plastic wrap.
Oh, my God.
The TSA did not identify the breed of turtles. One of them died.
Oh.
Well, you can't wrap them in plastic. He doesn't breathe. It's called breathing. One turtle died. The surviving turtle turned over to the Florida Department of Fish and Wildlife. This is the important part.
Yeah.
TSA said on social media, quote, friends, please, and we cannot emphasize this enough. Stop hiding animals in weird places on your body and then trying to sneak them through airport security, unquote.
I believe that, while, yes, a very, very diplomatic tweet, the answer is, the response is good. I feel like, quote, and we cannot emphasize this enough, unquote, is their way of saying something very non-FCC compliant. Just like, and the amount of like friends, please. And we can't emphasize this enough. Like, there's so much rage and fist clenching
in that little phrase.
Oh my gosh, it does that. There's a lot of emotion in that phrase.
I think this is something we could all abide by. Stop hiding animals in weird places on our bodies and trying to get them through airport security. I think we should put that on a shirt.
And I don't think we need to worry about identifying this woman. We already have Florida woman. Enough said.
Right. The TSA, by the way, does allow travelers to bring pets, including turtles, through security checkpoints. You do have to remove your turtle from any carriers and then carry it through the checkpoint. The carrying case does have to be x-rayed as well. Other airlines may have different pet policies. TSA says, notice we say carried, not hidden underneath your clothing.
It's all carrying to me. I don't know why the Florida lady sounded like that in my head, but she did. But yeah, and it's really a bummer that one of them died because of this too. I don't mean to bring it down, but
can we not do this?
Yeah, there are websites. They have the information you need on how to transfer.
Yes. Yeah. If this is your emotional security, emotional backup turtle.
Yeah. This is my emotional turtle.
This is my emotional
backup turtle.
You can bring them through. You don't have to wrap them up in plastic.
Yeah, that is just
don't do that.
That's a bad move.
Don't.
We
do
cannot
that.
stress this enough. We cannot emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
Please don't do this.
TSA might be a pain in the neck for all of us, but in this instance, I would like to think we could all agree.
These are the moments where I really actually have a lot of sympathy, empathy, and love for TSA because I've never seen anything like this in line. I've seen some attitude. I've seen some
Oh, yeah.
objects.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen things happen, but I have never seen turtles wrapped in plastic and gauze
In a bra.
and that's not something you sign up for when you're like, I'm going to work for the TSA.
One more time, just to share this quote.
Yes.
Friends, please, and we cannot emphasize this enough. Stop hiding animals in weird places on your body and trying to sneak them through airport security, unquote. A lesson to live by.
Never thought I'd have to say that out loud.
I have to. That wraps up today's episode of
This shouldn't be a thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin, and all of our engineers. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening and for watching on the stream. It really does mean the world. And I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit and you get the chance to share it. Keep it right here. News coming up next on the vast, statewide, countrywide. Listen to us globally on the app, the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll see you tomorrow.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.